What did I do? All right, I am recording now. All right.
You said we have
So,
30 days?
huh?
We have final results in 30 days.
30 days. What do you give me? Oh, give it to me at the end. All right. You guys are being noisy. All right. All right. So. All right, so problems 1 and 2, we want to determine the residual, see if it's, we have good data. What did we say about the residual yesterday, though?
You said that it was,
It couldn't have what happening?
a safe pattern.
Some sort of pattern. If you had a pattern, then your residual, then your data is really not good. You don't want patterns to take place, okay? So, does anyone need to see problem 1 or 2 done?
You do one.
Problem number 1, yeah. All right, so problem number 1, we have this as our equation. And then they have an x and y values as this. So we have -4, and that is that, and then -3, and -19, and -2, -15, -1, -12, 0, 8, 1, -4, and I'll just do one more, 2 and -1. All right. I know that it goes to 3 and 4, but let's not worry about it. All right. So in order to get figure out the residual, this information would have been the data that we had plotted for the line of best fit. Is that okay? Did you figure it out? Now? Cool. Perfect. So the residual value. So this was the data that they put into the calculator. They found a line of best fit. This is the line of best fit that they came up with. So now we want to see if it's the residual value. So we're going to have a new y value. Okay? So I think some of this we could probably do in our head. Let's see, if I take -4 and I plug it in here for x, I get 7 times -4 is -28. -28 over 2 is -14. -14 minus 8 is -22. So then if I subtract these from each other, I go -21 minus -22, so that has a residual of +1. Is that okay so far? Is that enough information to say that we have good data or not? No, let's find some more. So now I'm going to take -3 and I'm going to plug it in. So I'm going to take -3, plug it in. -3 plugged in, I get -21. -21 over 2. -21 over 2 is -11.5. Yeah.
Are you putting the x values in?
Yeah, putting the x values in.
Okay.
I
So-
did not do that at all.
Okay, well, please do it. I just lost where I was at.
Are you doing the
11.5?
20. Okay. So let me just do it quick on a calculator, so we're not focusing on. All right. So times 3. -10.5 plus -8. So if I do the subtraction, if I plug this in, this gives me a -10.5 minus 8 gives me a -18.5. Okay. So again, -19 minus negative, so it's plus. That gives me a -0.5. So then let's take the 2 and plug it in. 2 gets plugged in. 7 times -2 is -14. -14 over 2 is -7. -7 minus 8 is -15. What's the residual here? Just 0, isn't it? Okay. Let's take -1 and plug it in. So if I plug -1 in here, I get -3.5. -3.5 minus 8 is a -11.5. So that gives me -0.5. And then if I plug 0 in, 7 over 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 8 is negative 8. Oh, and I think that should have been negative 8 in the, yeah, that should have been a negative already. So it gives me a residual of 0. If I plug 1 in, I get 3.5. So it's a negative 4.5. If I subtract those, I get a positive 0.5. If I plug 1 in, or negative 1 in, I get, excuse me, if I plug 2 in, I get 7 minus 1, that's negative 1, that's 0. Okay, so my residuals, positive 1, negative 0.5, 0, negative 0.5, 0, 0.50. Is there really a pattern? Like 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or anything like that?
No.
No. Is this good data?
Yes.
Yes. Right.
How'd you like 4.5?
4 point, where are you at?
Like when we just did 4.5.
So, which one are you looking at? I got, oh, it's negative 4.5 minus negative 4.5. So negative, and then this would be minus minus, which is plus, so it becomes negative 4 plus 4.5, which gives you just positive, or should be negative 0.5, right?
Yeah.
Negative, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Goof you up. Good call.
Did you number 3, mister?
Yeah. Are we okay on number 1? And I don't recall seeing any of the residual stuff on the test. I'm just trying to think. There might be, but it's not going to be that big of a portion of it. So, which one do you say?
Number 3.
3. What do you got, Bob?
Are you able to do?
No, I don't have time to do all of them. It's just plugging in and subtracting. So, all right. So, problem number 3. If you're using a graphing calculator to find the line of best fit, let's put that stat. Okay, y equals stat. I'm just going to plug this data into the calculator. 1, 2, and then negative 7, negative 4, negative 1, 0, 0, 1, 4, 7, 9. Okay, so it's use the graphing calculator to find the equation of the line of best fit, identify and interpret the correlation coefficient, so that's R. So by plugging this into my graphing calculator, and I'm not doing it on the screen, I'm just doing it here by hand, it looks like we get y is equal to 1.8x minus 8, and we have an R value of 0.98. Okay? So this is the line of best fit when we plug it into our calculator that the calculator spits out. Has an R value of 0.98. Is 0.98 a pretty good R value?
So in that sense, do we have to write the R value?
Yeah, it'll ask you what the R value is. So don't worry, I will make sure you have yours on the calculator though. All right. R value of 0.98, 1, it should be positive because what else is positive in this equation? The 1.8, which is the slope, right? And then the R value is negative 0.98. This is like getting a 98% on a test. I think most of you would be happy getting a 98% on a test, right? So you should say, hey, this has got a pretty good correlation coefficient or an R value, okay? Anything else from that worksheet? Yeah?
Number
5?
Yeah.
Table, temperature, Fahrenheit, use count, okay? So number 5, I'm going to plug the data in. Stat, edit. Oops, go to. Clear down. Clear down. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And 76, 76. 8, 9, 9. I don't know, you can run down the restroom. 2. Stat, calculate. All right, I found for number 5, by plugging the data in, I got a linear equation of 0.7x plus 75.4. I have an R R value of 0.965, so that's pretty good. All right, so use a calculator to find the line of best fit. This is my line of best fit. Okay. Correlation coefficient, there we go. Interpret the slope and the y-intercept of the line of best fit. So the slope is 0.7. So what that means is, let's see, it says the number of people in a room and the temperature of the room. So the temperature of the room goes up 0.7 degrees for every one extra person in that room. That makes sense? So look at your y component. That's how many people are, or that's the temperature of the room. And then the x value is the number of people in the room. So for the room temperature increases 0.7 degrees for every one more person you put in that room. Okay? The y-intercept is, as far as our information goes, if we had nobody in our room, the temperature that our equation shows is 75.4 degrees. That's one of the residuals, right? Why would I say that? If my y-intercept is this, why is there some sort of residual to it? What's taking place with our data versus what our... Take a look at our data. Do we have 0 in our data for an x? Look at it. I have 0, 76, right? So our data is showing that we have a temperature. If we had like something that was able to tell us what the temperature in a room was when no one was in there, they told us 76 degrees. But with our linear equation that we created, we showed that our y-intercept is 75.4. But we said with our data it's 0.76. Okay, so there's a residual value there. That's where this is pretty sure, but it's not 100%. Okay, so those are some things you have to watch out for. And approximate the temperature when 15 people are in the room. So I'll plug 15 in there, so I get 0.7 times 15 plus 75.4. I'm pretty sure you can figure that out using a calculator. Okay? That, guys and girls, is all I got. So make sure your name is on page 122 or anything else you're handing up. And pass that forward, please.
Did you hear what I did?
Homework. Yeah. 122, and anything else that might need to be done? Thank you. Nope. Done. Be back. Oh. I already gave you credit for it. Yep. Thank you.
I'm trying to say something.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. An extra? Oh, okay. All right.
Here you go, mister.
Yeah. All right.
I said take your headphones out, and then you went like this.
All right, guys and girls. If you need to borrow a graphic calculator, please come up and grab one. If not, guys and girls, it really is imperative that you go check one out if you don't have one. If you need to borrow one, come get one, please.
Are we taking notes?
Yeah.
Get up and go get it. We're moving out. Hey.
have a note sheet? All right. All right. So I will do this each and every time at the beginning of class. Being that you're borrowing calculators, we have to go through and make sure we do the work that you don't have goofy things put in there, because sometimes a student prior to you might have put something goofy into the calculator, correct? All right, ready? And if you do this with your own calculator, this always will suggest that you're doing it correctly. All right, so what I'm going to do is my very first thing is I'm going to hit second plus. Second plus. Still with me? Second plus. And again, we're just going to clear the memory on the calculator so there's nothing goofy in there, so it shouldn't interfere with us. Is that okay? Yeah. Is everyone with me on second plus? We're going to go down to reset, and we're going to do all the RAM, and then go ahead and reset it. And what that's going to do is it kind of wipes out any lists that are in. If anybody who had anything plugged in goofy spots, defaults everything back to its factory settings, which is great. Okay, and if you do this with your own calculator, it's awesome as well.
It says press alpha F1 and F4 to locate shortcut menus.
Just hit clear.
All right.
Okay, is everyone good?
Yeah.
Is that first step good? All right, now, hang on. We'll make sure we do this as well. If being we just reset all of our factory settings, that turns our diagnostics off. So let's turn the diagnostics back on, okay? So I'm going to hit second, and I'm going to hit 0. And it's going to take us to our catalog. Just get to that point. It's your choice. If you want to arrow all the way down to the D's, go for it. But the rest of us are going to hit the letter D right here, which is mine's my X1 button. And then once I go here, I'm going to use my down arrow to find diagnostics, and I'm going to turn my diagnostics on and hit enter one more time. Okay, that allows the R and the R squared value. We don't worry about the R squared value. We're just worried about the R value right now, okay? So now this will all be set up for us, okay? All right, so right now we can kind of put the calculator away for right now, but it's ready for us when we're ready. So I'm going to flip this back over to this screen and go off our notes a little bit. So a few things. It looks like we have 30 days until the final exam. Guys and girls, the final exam is worth 15% of your semester grade. You want to do the best you possibly can on it. Okay? You don't want to say, it's just no big deal. I told you yesterday, I'm going to try and have this given to you on Wednesday at the end of class, which is good. And it'll give you one more evening to work on it. Oh, before we go any further, I talked yesterday, there's something on Schoology. What is the thing on Schoology that'll be due tomorrow?
I did it.
You did it?
I did it last night.
Sweet. Yeah, what is it, Sam? Yeah, it's extra credit. It goes in as, it can go in up to 3 extra credit points in the test quiz category. Okay, so it's on Schoology, and if you were to go to it, it was just go onto my Schoology page, go all the way down, and it says like WLF extra credit, and it has to do with a bathtub, right?
It was kind of weird. The question
Did
was
you?
weird.
Well, it's just.
Part of it I didn't get, but then I was like, whatever. I'm probably just like overthinking it, so then I just kind of did the problem.
Yeah,
Then it was easy.
but it was the bathtub problem, right? And and you understood that you fill the bathtub and the bathtub's leaking, right?
Oh,
And then-
it was like two gallons of water or something like that.
Yeah, we gave you the slope, and then you have to identify what the x-intercept would mean in the context of the problem, and the y-intercept. And you can either type in your answer, you can record your answer on your own computer at home, either verbally or actually as a video clip. Yeah.
When we're about to go to our final exam, we're gonna give us a study guide.
Oh yeah, don't you worry about that. Yeah, we got you guys all covered. All right, so is that okay so that's on Schoology. It's due tomorrow night at midnight or 11:59 p.m. Okay, tomorrow night. Okay, I will remind you all tomorrow as well. So it's definitely something you might want to do. It won't hurt your grade if you don't do it, but it will help your grade if you do it. So, make sure we take that.
Mister,
Yes.
what if you got like a C in the class?
Huh?
And they've been on the final. Would that bring your grade up?
Sure, it could. It depends how low the C is. Okay. So 70%, it's going to be impossible to move it to an 80%. But if it was like a 78%, then yeah. All right, let's see. Find the slope between 2 points. Try it. Why don't you try it? I'm going to write the slope equation up here real quick so if you needed to glance at that. And then I'm going to go ahead and solve it. That's what I got for an answer.
Oh my gosh, you did that so fast.
I know. Okay. Is there any questions about that first problem? Why don't you go to the next page, see if you can try the next one. See if you can try that next one. Let's find the slope again, so I'm going to write the slope equation. So look up here if you need the slope equation. Nope, slope is half. Reduced to a 4. Any questions on that one? Well, I had a negative on top and I have negative on bottom. Negative or negative is positive. Hey, who is it?
Mr. Morris?
Mr. You guys are supposed to say something.
Hi.
What's up, brother?
Did you get my text? Sorry, I was caught in traffic.
Oh,
All that kind of stuff, so that's fine.
perfect. Hey,
I
wave to the
apologize.
camera. Hey, you're on. Yeah, baby. You're not part of it. So sit wherever you want. These are a great bunch of kids.
Okay, great.
And,
Thank you. Welcome.
And that's for you, sir.
All right, great.
Mister,
Yes, sir.
for the third one, my fault, sir. For the third one, it says the slope is 0 over -5.
Oh, is that the next slide? I haven't gotten there yet.
It's like, yeah, it's like the
Oh, okay. We're okay on this one?
Yeah.
Well, Mr. I have a question.
Yes.
Doing the extra credit, like you said, how do you do it to make a voice or whatever, something like that? Like,
Yeah, so if you do it on a computer at home,
Yeah.
you might have a camera built in or a microphone built into your computer. Or if you don't, you can just type it in.
Or what if I could write it on paper?
No, gotta be typed.
Oh, and then I get an email to you.
No, it goes right into Schoology.
Submit
Oh.
it.
Yeah, so there's 3 ways to submit your answer. There's a place where it's like, okay, click right here and you can type it in saying, the y-intercept in the context of this problem means,
That's
the
what
x-intercept in the context of this problem means, or if you said, hey, I want to hit record, because the neat thing that Schoology allows us to do, and you all might not have thought of this, is sometimes verbally, you can tell the story easier than typing up something or doing it on a test, right?
No.
No? Okay, well, you might be that other person. But we'll be okay. All right, let me move on. I mean, if we have time, we'll go back to the Schoology thing in a few minutes. Find the slope between the 2 points. So if you need the slope equation, look up here. I'll write it up. If you don't, try and work it out. What do you think? What kind of line is this? Don't say straight because they're all straight lines.
Vertical.
What?
Undefined.
Oh, is it undefined? What is it?
Vertical. I mean,
No.
horizontal.
Horizontal. Horizontal lines.
Oh wait.
Okay,
Is it,
hang on. Undefined slope.
is the one with the 0 on the bottom?
Right. So if zero's under, follow me on this. Under starts with U, right?
Yes.
Under is undefined,
Oh.
right? And then vertical and under, those 2 letters are next to each other in alphabet. UV.
I just think of a vertical.
Did you like that?
You're so weird.
You knew that always.
Okay.
All right. So is everyone okay with this problem? So this is a horizontal line, has a slope of 0. Okay. May I move on?
Ooh, I got this one.
Oh, there's another slope one. So if you forgot the slope equation, again, it's up here.
Can I say what this one is?
What do you get?
It's undefined.
What? No.
Yes, it is.
Silly you.
-1. Oh,
Oh wait, that's negative 1 on top, right?
What
Yeah,
are you
that's what I'm
talking
doing.
about?
And what's on bottom?
0.
So what is the slope?
Negative
No,
0.
Undefined.
undefined.
I said that it was undefined and you said no.
Well, I wasn't there yet. I'm sorry. Hey, this is a straight line. What kind of straight line?
Vertical.
Vertical. Because remember, if 0 is under starts with a U, that means it's undefined, which starts with a U. And a vertical line is undefined, and U and V are next to each other in the alphabet. Okay? Again, it's a little game you could play to make it work, because a lot of you keep shouting out the opposite answer. You know that it's a goofy problem, but you shout out the wrong answer because you're rolling the dice on a 50-50 shot. Okay? Can I move forward?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, ooh, okay. Shame on us. There is a mistake up there. Does anybody see it? I will give anybody 1 point bonus extra credit if you see it. What do you think? No? What do you think?
Wait.
No? Go ahead. I'll give you the bonus. Good job.
What?
Wow.
The y-intercept is, say it one more time.
Supposed to be.
What's more you call me now? All right. So, this should be written as a point. Oh, shame on us for being bad. I don't know. You guys are the important people right now.
You should have answered it.
I know, I should have. All right, so I'll add a point for you.
Just like
Bonus on it on your last test, okay? Good job. All right, so the y-intercept should be written as a point. Shame on us for making it incorrect. Write the equation of the line that has a slope of negative 1/3 and a y-intercept. So my y-intercept is a b value. So what equation goes really nice with this?
Point slope.
Okay, I like how you said that. Let's see real quick.
Or is it just the slope form?
So does this one appear to be the good equation, or does this one?
That one.
That one.
Top one or bottom one? Bottom one. This is called slope-intercept form, correct?
Yeah.
Why is this one better?
It's easier.
It is easier. Why?
Because that one's good.
Because we know our m value. So the m value would work on both automatically, yes? But then, being that we know that our y-intercept and our y-intercept is b, we don't have b in this equation right like that, but we do have b down here. Is that okay? So I'm going to use my bottom equation. Let's see. So I'm going to plug m in right here. I'm going to plug b in right here. So I get y equals negative 1/3 x minus 27. That's right out of space. 1/3 x. There's my equation. Let's scratch that out. Does that seem okay?
Yeah.
I will make sure you have point slope and slope-intercept form equations given to you. Hey, real quick before you guys can look up here. What does this equation kind of look like that I don't always give you?
Y equals
No? What does it kind of look like that I don't always give you? Let me go back a slide. Does this and this kind of look the same?
Yes.
Meaning, if I were to divide this quantity and bring it over, would it look like my slope equation?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Now, I understand the slope equation. We have y sub 2 and x sub 2. But if we just change it with a point slope. So it kind of be, there are some tricks that you could use. All right. Write the equation of a line that has a slope of 2 and goes through the point 0, 9. 0, 9 is what? It is a point, but what kind of point? What special point is it?
the Y.
What?
The
The y what? Not the y point. Intercept. The y-intercept is known as what letter?
Why?
B. Good. So this is B. So I'm going to use this equation. And the reason I'm using this equation and not point slope is because I know what my y-intercept is, and it's B, and I know what my slope is. So if I just plug those in, what do I get? Ready, set, go.
Y equals 2x plus 9.
There you go. Oh, you guys are so much faster than me. move on to the next slide. Sweet. This should be review. That's what we're doing. All right. Okay. Write the equation of the line that goes through the point 0, 5 and 9, 2. So let's identify. Is 9, 2? Is it just a point?
Mister, don't
Yeah.
you have to find the slope first.
Oh yeah. But what is 0, 5 though? What's special about 0, 5? It's the y-intercept. So we do see this being the y-intercept right away. Okay. So this is my b value. So I know that b is equal to 5 at this point. And then we said, hey, we need to know what the slope is. Okay, so my slope is, let's see, 2 minus 5, is that right?
Yeah.
So 2 minus 5, and then 9 minus 0. Negative 3 over what?
Negative 9.
Can I reduce that?
Yeah. So 1/3.
Okay, now, quick question. Can I use y equals mx plus b right now on this equation? Yes, why? And the y-intercept, b values, good. So I can plug this in right now to this equation because we have a special point of this given. So I have, okay, if I wasn't given the y-intercept like this, I probably should use point slope. Does that make sense? Can you see the difference of why I chose to use this rather than point slope? Are you wrong if I chose to use point slope? No. It'll be totally correct if you use point slope. Okay? Remember, point slope, though, depending upon which x1, y1 you choose, you have two answers that are given. They're both correct. But just remember, if you had one answer and your neighbor had a different answer, it doesn't mean you're wrong. You could have your values flip-flopped. All right, let's go to one more. All right, write an equation that is parallel to y equals 1/2 x minus 16 through the point 6, negative 4. So what is the slope of the equation that's given up here? 1/2. What do we know about a parallel slope?
They have the same slope.
Same slope. Awesome. So parallel slopes are the exact same. Are we okay with that little information? So now we have this other point. So I have a slope and I have a point. So what equation might be the best for us to use? Point slope. Good. Which is this. Okay? So this is my x1 and my y1 value, and I know my slope. So I'm going to go y minus 4, so y plus 4 equals 1/2 x minus 6. Can I leave my problem like this?
No.
I disagree. Why do I disagree? What's a key word that's in the very first part of the problem? Equation. Says, hey, find me the equation. Did we find an equation that contains that point and is parallel to that other line?
Yes.
So should we work further?
No.
No. I feel you should leave it just like that. The reason I say that is because if you decide to change it to slope-intercept form, could you make an arithmetical error?
Yeah.
So why take the extra step where you might have a chance of making an error? Yeah. Okay, this one says write an equation as well, so we don't have to take it all the way to y equals mx plus b, do we? Okay, so what is my slope of this equation that's up here right now? 3. What's my parallel slope? 3 as well. Write an equation to the line that is parallel to, and it goes through this point. So point slope again? Good. So that's my x1 and my y1, right? So y minus 12. Y plus 12, I like it. Slope is? And then, no, just 3, right? And then x minus 3? Did it just ask for an equation?
Yeah.
Did we satisfy what this question asked?
Yes.
Absolutely. So there's still going to be some of you that are thinking, am I going to be incorrect if I solve y equals mx plus b? The answer is no. It's okay if you want to go all the way with it, but my opinion is there's no reason to go, well, let's distribute 3 over the parentheses and then subtract 12 because you don't want to make an error. Don't put your back. Yeah, we don't think I'm having it.
Who did you say bye to?
She said bye to you. All right. What is the slope of the line perpendicular to what's given? So are we finding an equation on this one? No, what am I finding? Perpendicular slope. So what is my slope of this equation?
Negative
-2. What is my perpendicular slope?
2.
One half.
2.
Oh, 2 over 1.
Positive 2.
Or 0.
1 over
0.
1/2 is the answer. Why is it 1/2?
I just said that, mister.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
because
They
it's
did say
opposite.
that.
I know.
So, they have to be opposite sign, yes? You have to flip over 2. Flip that over, it's 2 over 1, right? Now, some I said briefly, but you might not have caught it. Does anybody know what happens if you multiply perpendicular slopes together every time? Yeah.
Always the negative goes away.
Something happens. Anytime you multiply perpendicular slopes together, as long as they're not vertical and horizontal to each other. What does, well, just look up there. What if I were to multiply -2 times positive 1/2? What's -2 times 1?
1, 2.
-2. Next, -2 over 2.
1.
Oh, it doubles.
You said negative 2 over 2.
Multiply this times this. Hang on. Let's just see if we can find
I'm
this.
so confused. I feel so stupid.
Well, don't worry. We gives us something to laugh at. If I'm,
I love
Does
it.
everyone agree with this?
Every day.
does everyone agree with that?
Yeah.
Which that gives me this over this, which reduces to
1.
Negative 1.
-1.
Negative 1.
Thank you for holding the sign. So what do you think that every time, if I have two different slopes and I said, hey, are these perpendicular slopes to each other? If they are not horizontal and vertical lines, if they're anything else, what do you think every time perpendicular slopes will multiply together to give us?
1.
-1. Okay. You don't need to know that. It's just sometimes a little tricky. It is crazy. It happens. Write an equation of the line that is perpendicular to the given through the point 0, 8. Hey, quick question. 0, 8 is what? A point. It's the y-intercept. So my b value is this. Okay, so what is my slope of the given line?
1/3.
1/3. What is my perpendicular slope?
-3.
-3. Awesome. Okay, which equation should I use on this one? I can use point slope. Y equals mx plus b. This one works special because we had the y-intercept already given. So y equals -3x plus 8 is my equation. Now, for those of you who are like, yeah, but you know what, point slope would have worked as well. You are totally right. So you could leave that as point slope. Okay, and again, it's just asking for the equation. But sometimes one equation, especially when it's directing you to use the y-intercept. Am I almost done? You got a couple more?
You got 2 more.
Yeah, baby. All right, write the equation. Okay, so write the equation. This will help us with finding the line of best fit as well, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so line of best fit, you're just plotting the data, you're finding 2 points that aren't necessarily next to each other, a little bit further apart that happen to follow on the same line. All right, so if I want to find the equation, what's my first step?
Y.
Find the slope.
Slope.
Wait, we have a test Thursday and Friday?
Friday.
It says test Thursday and Friday.
Friday.
We have a
Take-home
history
test.
on
But I'll get you
Friday.
the take-home one on Wednesday, so you have an extra day.
Oh.
All right, so I have, let's see, -8 minus 6, -6 minus -1. That gives me -14 over -7, which is 2. So my slope's this. All right. Do either of these points resemble the y-intercept? Are either of those points the y-intercept?
Yes. No.
1, 6 is not the y-intercept. -6, -8 is not the y-intercept.
Well, 6 could be the Y.
No,
because
and
it
this
has
would have to be 0. Good. Or that would have to be 0. All right, so,
What about the last one, mister?
well, I don't know. Let's see. Hang on, I only found the slope. I need to find the equation that goes through those 2 points. So what's the next step?
The
Point slope, good. Now, so my point slope, I could have this as an answer, or I could have this as an answer.
No, you can't. That's for your
Why do both answers work?
They give you the same answer.
Points.
Yeah, and then if you were to solve it, you would then, your y equals mx. So either of these are the correct answer. Hey, I want to show you something real quick. I'm going to switch to here. Okay? Switch to there. Watch this. Ready? Let's see if we can do this real quick. Stack. Still with me? Are we almost done?
It's a minute left.
Minute. Edit. What's my point? What's my point? 3 what? What? Help me.
Where's the end?
What's my point? What's my point?
It's y minus 6 equal to.
So 1. I have a 1 here. And a 6 here. What's my other point? What's my other point? 1 comma 6 and what?
5 plus 8 equals 2x.
Do what?
Y equals 8 equals 2x plus 6.
Oh shoot, we didn't get there quick enough. I was going to show you the equation. Alright, so, real quick, guys and girls, your assignment, don't look on here for your assignment, because I'm off a smidge. This is what I want you to do for tomorrow. Okay, I want you to get a good start on this review. Okay, there's kind of a lot to it. It is not due tomorrow, but it's 124 through 128. It is not due tomorrow, but get a start on it. Make sure, no, yeah, and do that. And then I need your calculators, please.